And in this last module, what we are doing, we are working in our application part. So throughout our this journey of our object-oriented programming using Java, we have learned various concepts related to constructor, class, methods, right? Variables, local variables, static variables, your interfaces, exception handling. So we have learned a lot of means various concepts over there. But now in reality, we have to apply these concepts. It's not like that we will learn these concepts and then we will just forget those concepts. So we should know the actual applications of these concepts. Okay. So out of this, one application is like your CUI. So till now, as I have already told you earlier, like we are working on or we are creating your CUI application, but now we want to create what your GUI application, right? And I have also demonstrated you that how to create GUI application. But in this lecture, I will just give you means from the scratch. I will tell you like how to create projects. So those who have any difficulty, still facing some difficulty, right? I will try to resolve those difficulty. And in like in two, we are having like 2-3 more lectures. So in those 2-3 lectures, what we are going to do, we are going to create your proper database connectivity, and we will try to create means some application. Okay, so whatever the application we want, okay, like that. So the thing why I'm basically explaining this thing so that you will have an idea. So these are the three ways you can create your GUI application, and we are focusing upon your Swing, okay? And it is inside your Java X dot Swing package. Remember, it is under your Java X dot Swing package, because this is very important. If we are going to write na Java dot Swing, so we will get an error, right? Otherwise, we are directly using drag and drop, so we never get these errors. But still, sometimes in interview or somewhere else, if you will find out like, okay, we are using Java dot Swing, okay, then surely you will get an error, right? And the one more thing is related to your container and component. Remember the container which contains your what all these components, right? So components, and remember all these are your classes. So we have this package named as java.swing, and inside this swing we have all these classes. These are not what we call it as your methods. Remember, all these are what your classes, like your JLabel, JList, all these things, right? Similarly, we have panels. All these are what your classes. So we are working on classes, and you already know that whenever we are working on some classes, so classes consist of many and several methods like that. Okay. So without wasting this particular time, I will directly go through this NetBeans, and I hope that all of you have already installed this particular NetBeans, and now you are in a stage to basically create your application. So this is how basically once you will open your NetBeans. So some of, because I have removed that this first web the welcome or home page of NetBeans, but some of you will get some home page over there. Now after that, our first task whenever we are creating anything, okay, in Java programming language. So basically what we are doing, we are working in some project, right? We are working in some project. We want to deliver something, right? So that is why what all of you can do, there are two ways to create a project. Either you can click over there. See, they have already they have show means there is an option like shortcut new project. Otherwise, you can go directly to your file and directly click on this new project. Once you will click on this your new project, then you will find out like Java with your Maven. So there are different ways through which basically you can create your project. Because see, remember, Apache NetBeans is an IDE. It is an integrated development environment. So here you can perform various other tasks. It's not like that you can perform only, you can create only Java application. So you can perform only some integrations, many other tasks you can also perform using this platform. That is why these IDEs become so popular. Otherwise, in earlier days, wherever like if you will go back to 2001, 2002, 2003, At that time, they directly use JDK, like, so they generally use what some your notepad, using notepad we usually use to write the program, and then we using command prompt we generally execute our code. Now using this particular ID, now it is basically providing us all these functionalities. Now, if you want to work and if you want to create your Swing application, remember, because I'm getting a lot of means queries from the students, right? So I just want to generalize these queries so that if someone is also getting the same kind of issue, so we can basically find it out. Okay, what kind of issues you are getting it. Okay. So I have seen like some of you are directly creating your project using this your Java with Maven. Okay, you can create an application. I'm not saying that you cannot create any application using this thing. You can create, but yeah, whenever you are creating this Java with Maven, then what will happen? Somehow you will face difficulties whenever you are going to add some libraries, right? Libraries means I will tell you where you will face an error. Like if I want to add some JDK, right? Sorry, J connector, that is a jar file. So somehow you might, so there are many other tricks too, but yeah, you will face a lot of trouble. So that is why I will recommend all of you to directly click on this Java with and. Okay, so through this thing, what we are going to do, we are going to create a project, and then we will click on this Java application. So once we will click on this Java application, then you will click on this your next button and whatever the name of your project you want to give. So suppose I want to give my first GUI. So this is what my first project. I want to give the name of this particular project as what? First GUI program, or like this. I can give anything like that. Okay. Now, first GUI is okay. Now, after that, you can see, whenever you are going to create your project now, so this thing is very important. Why this is very important, I will tell you. So by default, if you want to change this location, you can change, no issue at all. But remember that this location by default you will get see users more. This is my basically user profile, and this is documents and in NetBeans. So basically you will find out in documents folder there is a NetBeans project, and here basically what you are doing, you are having this first GUI project. So whenever you want to access some file now, so don't get confused. Okay, sir, we have created a project, but we are not able to find out where those projects are. So remember, these are the locations and these are the folder. Using this, what you are able to do, you are able to this. Some of the times you will find out that this checkbox is already ticked. Okay, so please try to remove it. Why? Because whenever you will take that now, so automatically it will create one more package named as your first GUI. But we don't want this thing. So what we will do, we will directly remove this thing. Otherwise, it will create one more subfolder, right? Like this. So once I will click on this finish button, then what will happen? It will take some time. And then here you can see that now I have created a project, right? Now, what kind of application you want to create, it's up to us. So if you want to create some CUI application, right? Like right nowadays, what we are doing, like till our exception handling code, whatever the application we are creating, those are our CUI application, right? So at that time, we will go and see in this source package. If you will click on this plus button, you will find that we got on a default package. If you want to create your own package, just click right click and create package, Java package. If you don't want, if you want to use default package, that is okay too, right? If you want to basically add something over there in this particular any class over there, so you can directly access over there. So as you already know that in our package, we can have several other sub packages too, right? And it also supports libraries, right? And out of which library which we are getting it by default, that is your JDK 16. So right now in my system, and all of you will have some already this JDK 16. Okay, okay, in your system. Now, after that, what we want, if you want to create normal classes, okay, if you want to create an application, CUI application, then directly click on this basically Java class, right? But here in this class or in this lecture, what we are going to do, we want to create an application, and that application is our GUI application using Swing, right? So in the case, if you want to create an application using Swing, so what I will do here, you will find JFrame form. So basically, this is a basically a class, okay, and it by default in built you will find that it has all the things like related to whatever the entire Swing libraries, right, like this. So if I will click on this, then it will ask me that what will be the name of my this particular class. So you can give whatever the name you want to give. So let's assume I want to give first GUI, right? First GUI. Now I will click on this finish button. So once I will click on this finish button, then you will see here that I will see this entire thing, right? This. So here I will have a palette. Here I will have this window. And currently I am in which window? I am in my design window. Remember in which window I am currently right now? On my design window. So there are three windows. First one is your history. So we never means right now for our current scenario, we are not bothering about this history window. So our major concern is on our design window and your source window. Remember. So using design window, what we can do, we can directly perform drag and drop operation. So all these are what we have, these some containers, some controls. So these are what our components, okay? And we can put components always inside your container, right? Like this. So all these things are already available right now. This. And similarly, we have one more window that is known as your source window, right? So using this, our Apache and NetBeans as well as your Eclipse IDE or no, your Intel IJ, so whatever the IDE you are using, so they are providing you this such kind of functionality so that you don't need to write, okay, the entire code. The reason is why they have incorporated this feature. Suppose I want to add this button somewhere here, okay, on my window. Let's assume I don't know the exact coordinate of this particular window. So what I have told you, if I will put this J button over here, now remember the coordinate will be what 0, 0, right? So if I'm not using basically design window, then it will take a lot of time, not in order to perform functionality, but in order to find out the exact coordinate point, like where we should put this particular J button here or here. So every time we will put, okay, this is the suppose X comma Y, we are getting some here. No, but we don't want. So again, we will make some changes and put it here. So it is going to take a lot of time, right? Like this. Now let's check and open the source code, because right now we haven't created anything, but we have already created what, or we have invoked your JFrame class, right? So here, once you will open this particular thing, then you will find out what that we have created a class. So you already know that I have used this particular name named as first GUI. And here what it is doing, it is basically inheriting Java X dot. So here we are using fully qualified name. If somebody will ask you, hey, why are you not using any import? If you want, you can use import packages too, like import Java X dot string directly, no issue at all. But still, if you don't want, you can directly go through and directly use this what fully qualified name too, like in javax.swing.jframe. So using fully qualified name also, we are able to access whatever the file or class we want to access. Now, after that, what we are doing inside this, your first GUI, you will see that we have a constructor. We have a constructor. So when our constructor will be invoked, whenever we are creating any object. right? Whenever we are creating any object, then automatically our this constructor, and this you can see somehow it is a default constructor because it doesn't contain any argument. So in this constructor, what we are doing, we are calling this method, and the name of this method is init components. Remember. Now, if we will go down here, then you will find out, let's see here, you will see generate code. So let me elaborate this particular thing. If I will elaborate, then you will find out that we have a method name as init components. Now, after invoking this method, now the question that comes into your mind is, sir, what this method is doing? This method is basically, if you will find out, and remember, see this, what kind of method this is? This is your instance method, right? So you can invoke this method only whenever you are creating an object. So whenever you are creating an object, it will invoke this constructor, then automatically it will basically create this particular thing, right? Like this. Now, after that, if you will find out, then you will see that all these are basic, means by default, you are getting this entire thing, right? All these statements. So in this statement, you will see some of the things like you are calling this exit on close. So whenever we are going to execute our this particular thing, now, let me show you, okay, how my this. So see, this is how right now right now till now I haven't written any code yet. Means even right now till now I haven't used this concept of palette. But still, what I can see is I can see this entire thing, and here I am getting this design preview first GUI. This is the message I am getting. This is the icon I am getting, and see all these things I am getting like close this thing. And if I will click on this close, so I will be able to close my application, this particular application. So how I will be able to do this this particular performance using this particular operation, exit on close. So this is you can call it as a variable through which what we can do, we can directly close that particular application. And here you can see this entire thing, the coordinates, like what will be the size of this thing, right? Like this. So this is basically, so whatever the operation we are going to perform now, after that, after some time, you will find out that somehow we are using this particular method, right? Or we are inside this method, somehow we are calling our other methods over there. Now, after that, because our main component is, as you already know, that is nothing but our public static void main. Because whenever we are executing our code, so we always go for public static void main, and inside public static void main, you can see over there that by default you are getting all these things that are required, okay? All these operations, all these catch and of these exceptions, you are getting it. So because now you already have an idea about like why we are writing catch and why, what is the meaning of try block, now you can automatically understand this particular code, right? Like this. So all these methods are already inbuilt available. Now, in this lecture, what we are going to do, we are going to use the concept of your containers as well as all these swing controls, right? Like this. So out of which, if you will check it out, like see how many functionalities this particular swing application provided us, this particular swing class package providers, right? So now what I want to do, suppose see, you can see and everything, like see, if you want to add some dialogue, you can directly put dialogue. Here you will find filters, here you will find some AWT, here you will find beams, right? Like this. But here our entire focus is upon like how to create this particular. So let's assume I want to create an application like this IDE. See the interface of this particular application, I want that it should look like what our this NetBeans. So how can I do that? So here you can see that all this is what my menu bar, right? So those who have no idea, like the what we call it, we generally call this thing, all these things, right, as our menu bar, like what you want. Like whenever we are going in a hotel, so what we got some menu, now. Hey sir, what do you want, like for what do you want to order, like that. So similarly, for any application, whenever we are executing, we got some menu bar like menu. What do you want to perform? Whatever operation you want to perform. So for our current case, so we want to create a menu bar. So how can we create a menu bar? So you can see here that in swing menus, we are getting this a menu bar, right? So if you want to perform, if you want to create this particular NetBeans like interface, so what I will do, I will click on this menu bar and I will click directly on the top over there. So now you can see here that now I have created what? One menu bar right now. Now let's check it out. Like, is there any changes that had happened on my this particular source code? Now, if you will check it out, then you will find out that now we in our source code, they have added these three word objects reference variable. Remember, so jmenu1 is my reference variable of my jmenu class. So because here you can see how many, see these two you are getting it. So that is why we have created these two things. For menu one, these are my menu one, this is menu two, and this is what my entire menu bar, right? So that is why I am getting what these three things. So remember, it belongs to this class. Menu 2 belongs to just jmenu, like our file and this thing. So if you want to change the name of this thing, you can change, but it depends upon you. It depends upon the programmer, okay, whether you want to basically change anything over there or not. Now after that, let's execute this code. So every time, see, it's not like that you will do what every time you will go and start executing your code. No, never do this type of thing. Okay, what you do whenever you want to check whether how this actual in reality, whenever you want to make some sort of preview, okay, how your application looks like. So what you do in this entire window, in any location, just press right button, okay? Press right button and here you can see preview design. So all these preview designs are available. Now you will ask me, sir, what these preview design? So that I can show you and you will, by default, you will understand that, okay, what is the meaning of preview design. So see, currently we are using Nimbus, okay? So if I will click on Nimbus, so if I'm using the theme, this theme, Nimbus theme, so how my application will look like this, right? So my application will look like this. Now, if I want to use this particular dark theme, so this is how. So it's up to you, like which theme you want to add. Even though if you want to make or add colors by your own, you can do that particular thing too, right? Now, if you will go over there, this particular window, okay, right now I'm not talking about menu bar, but I just want to show you because whenever we are executing our window, so we are getting this design preview first GUI. But what we want like I just want Apache NetBeans, it should print. So what I will do, I will right click over there and I will go back into this properties. So once I will go back into this property, so here you can see what you can see a title. So we are getting some by default a title, okay, whatever the name of our class. But now what I want to add my own, what we call it as your own this particular thing. Wait. So what I will do, I will write it down here as net. I will write it down entire thing. Apache NetBeans, right? Like this. So see, all these are your properties. If you will find out like what kind of font size you want, right? Or like this is your maximize bound, minimum bounds. If you will check it out, whether you want to perform some operations, this is our code, right? What will be the resolution, the entire resolution of this particular application you want, right? And whether you want to generate this application at center or somewhere else, all these things you will get it over there. Now I will close this particular thing. Now I will again right click over there and I will check it out. See, now you can see I will have a Apache NetBeans I have now created. Now this is the title of my this particular thing. Now what one thing I just want to show you, if I'm going to execute this particular file, let's click on this run button, and if I will click OK, then it will execute my this particular application. And here you can see that this is the entire resolution of my application, right? Like this. Now here you can see that every time whenever I am basically going to open my this particular application, it is going on the left hand side of this particular plane. So what we can do is, if you want, so these are what your features that are already available. Okay, so if you want, then what you do, you just click on this particular thing. Now it will get generated from the center. So now if I will execute my application, right, let me click on this particular run button. Now you can see, earlier case my application is coming from on the top from this particular coordinates 0, 0. Now I am getting my application from center, okay, like this. So these are the things which you can perform over there, and these are the changes which you will find out in your this particular thing. So if you will find out that everything, whatever the component we are adding now, so we are getting some changes, or we are getting this particular thing in your initc. Here what we have done, we have created an object, okay, of this J menu bar. So these are what your reference variables. So whatever the thing we are created now, all these are what your objects, right? Like this. What about like now? Now after that, what I want to perform. See, right now, if I'm going to click on this particular thing, so if you want to make some change now, so you can change. And if you want to add more options, just click over there, and you can click here like add menu. So if you want to add menu, you can add, and suppose I want to write it down as view. So now I am having all these things, right? Like this. Now after that, let's assume what you want to add in this file. If I will click on this file, then what I'm getting, I'm this entire these options, right? So how can I perform this particular thing? So what you can do, you can directly click over there, and you will directly like add from palette. So what you want to add, like menu item, what do you want to add? So let's assume I want to add menu, okay? So if I will click on this particular menu, then I will get this particular option. So suppose for my first, I will get new project. So what I will do, I will right click over there, edit text, and I will write what your project, right? Like this. So now you can see here, if I will make a preview, okay, of this particular thing. Now if I will click on for file, so you will see project. But now after file project, what I want to create one more thing, right? So what I will do, I will click on this particular thing on project, and again I will click on this particular thing, and I will create. If you want to add some item, so click on this particular item and I will make this thing as create project, right? Like this. See, now if I will show you the preview design, how this design will looks like. If I will click on this particular thing, project, create project, like this. Got the point? So this is what basically we are doing over there. Similarly, if you want to perform ads, so go to add from palette and add your items, right? So whatever the item you want to add, sorry. So if you want to add some item in view, what are the items we have? We have editors, let's assume. We have editors. Now here you can see that whenever we are creating any applications now, see here what you can see, all these three are in a single box. If you will see this particular thing very carefully, then these editor, split and codes are in the same block, while IDE is in a different block, while these tools and all these are in a different block. So how can we create like this? So let's create one more this particular thing over there. Okay, one more palette, this menu item, and make it as, what is this? Split. Okay, make it split over there. Right now. Now, if you want to add this particular functionality, so what you can do, you can directly click over there and you will go to palette and directly click on this separator. So once you will click on separator, now it means now whatever the option you will click over there, then you will see, I will show you so that you will have an idea. And I will add what like IDE log, IDE log like this. Right. So let's preview this particular thing. So if I will preview, then you can see if I will click on file. So these are those because I have added menu item. But here I have added only items. So if I will click on edit, so see editors and split are coming in the same frame, you can call it as. While IDE log is coming in a different. So if you want to add some sort of separators like that, so you can add separators too. Right. So till now we have created this particular application. Now what I just want to show you one more thing because that particular thing is very important is like if I want to create some sort of labels. So remember that labels are what your static fields, right? So these are your labels. So if you want to add anything, if you want to add, so you can add like your first name, right? So these are your static fields. Remember, whenever you are going to click on this particular first label, na, so again go through directly to the static and whatever the text you want. So suppose I want this text and I want to make it bold, right? Like this. Now you can see. So whatever the style you want, you can directly. If you want to make it in the top, so what you will do? It will go directly on the top like this. Okay. For this particular frame, actually, it will go. So that is why it's not coming like this, right? So this is basically what we can do over there. We can use whatever the thing we want. Suppose I want to create NetBeans, I want to write, I will directly write it down NetBeans, right? Like this. And if you want to make some other, because I can see this way. So just go into property, make some other one other that is TW sent, right? Make it like this, increase, make it bold only. So now, okay, then okay. Now see, now we have created this particular NetBeans, right? Like this. Or let's assume if I want to create Facebook. Now I have created like this, Facebook. Now suppose I want to add a logo of my Facebook, okay? So how can you add images? So if you want to add some images, so first of all, what you have to do, you have to add image in this particular folder. While there are many other ways too, right? I'm not saying that this is the only way, but I'm telling you that if you want to add some image, so what you have to do, you have to go back, let me go to my desktop. In my desktop, I am having one Facebook image. So I will directly copy this image, Control C I have pressed, and then I will go back to where? I will go back directly to my NetBeans. Where is my NetBeans? Here, right like this. Now inside my NetBeans, just click on this. This is my package, right? I will click directly on this particular package and I will directly paste over there. See, now I got this Facebook image. Now what I want to add this image over here. So how can I add this particular thing? So again, you can use the concept of label over there. So I will create one more label, that is my label. And in this label, what I don't want to add some text, but what I want to add some image. So that is why what I will do, I will directly right click over there and I will directly go to my properties. And once you will go into your properties, then you will see that there is a thing named as your icon, right? So just go to this particular icon and here you will find that we have this particular package. And if you right now we have this particular package because we can access this particular thing. And how many images we have? Currently we have only one image, that is image.png. So what I will do, I will directly click on this particular image and I will press OK and I will directly close, right? So once I will close this particular thing, right? So we can just wait. Yeah. So if you want to remove this thing, you can remove. Now, if you can see over there like this, so now what I have done, I have created this particular Facebook, okay, like this. So whatever the thing you want, okay, so there are many other features too. So now let's execute, let's preview this particular application. So once I will preview this particular application, see, now this application looks like that, like this. So if I will go for some other preview designs like my this dark, so see, this is how basically I have created this particular application. So if you want to add some image, so yes, you can add any images. It's up to you, right? Like this. Now all these are the functionalities you will find out over there, right? So here you can see now after that, what we can see that we have labels, then we have buttons, right? Generally, why we use buttons? Login. We generally use buttons just in order to perform some sort of operations, right? So in Java, we have a class named as your action listener, right? So using action listener, what we generally perform, we perform some sort of actions, whatever the actions you want to perform, right? So if you want to perform some action, like whenever you will double click on this particular thing, then something will happen, okay? So for that particular case, what you will do, you directly click on this particular thing and you will get this particular J action performed with this particular method. So automatically you will go directly to this particular method, right? Like this. Now in this method, what I want to link two pages, right? So later on, I will create the entire application, no issue at all. But here I just want to show you some of the functionalities, right? So if I want to means perform the what we call it as the from one page, I want to call my second page, right? My second swing application. So how can I basically perform this particular application? So for this particular case, what you do, you just create one more JFrame form, okay? So now I want to give this particular thing as second, right? So I have created one more file that is known as your second GUI. And in this, let's assume I want to make a title as second GUI, right? So that you will see. If I will execute this particular application, so you will see like, okay, this is the application, okay? So this is my second application. Now what I want to link my first application with my second application. So you can see now, you will find out like whenever we are clicking on some button, so a separate different window will come like that. So how can you do that particular thing? So for that, what you will do, you will go over there, and here what I want, whenever I am going to click on this particular login button, then after that automatically it will open and it will invoke my this particular class, that is my second GUI.java class. So as you already know that how can we basically generally access for that particular class, if we want to access instance variable and everything. So for that particular case, we always create objects, right? What we generally do, we create objects. So for that, what I will do, I will create an object whenever you, so this method will execute only whenever we are going to click, whenever we are going to click in this particular login button, right? Like this. Now, if I will go and so what class I want to call, I want to call this particular second. So whenever I am going to write SE now, then after if you have some doubt like, okay, you have several classes, okay, and suppose your name of that particular class is very big. So what you can do, you can directly, there is a shortcut. In that shortcut, what you do, you just press control and space, right? So if I will click on control and space, then see what I am getting. I am getting all these things. So for my current scenario, I want a second GUI. So if I will click on this particular thing, I will get second.gui. Now after that, what I want, so we have to call this particular method, and that method is your set visible method, right? Like this. So you can see that this set visible method will either you will see what you will pass either true value, some boolean value, either true or false, right? Like this. Now for our current case, what we want a true value. So that is why what we will do, we will directly write it down as what your true over there, right? So now what will happen, whenever I will click on my this particular button, login button, then what will happen, this method will invoke, and inside this method it will create an object of my second.gui, and it will make whatever the window we have now, it will make this method as set visible is equals to true, right? So I will use control plus S for just in order to save my program. Now after that thing, let's execute my program. So once I will execute my program, then you can see this is what my first file. Now what I will do, if I will click on this login button, then you can see automatically we are getting one more window, and that window is what, second GUI. So using this thing, what we have done, what we have achieved, we have provided a linkage between these two windows. So if you want to perform some sort of operations like that, so yes, in Java using Swing, you can perform these operations, right? Like this. So this is how basically you can perform a linkage between two windows. And remember that whenever you want to access other class, okay, your second class, remember you have to create an object. Okay, you have to call the constructor of this particular class. Remember, this is very important, right? So this is how basically we have created this particular application so far. Now let's assume this is my AND application. Right now we haven't incorporated many functionalities, but still what I want that, okay, all of you should access this particular file. Okay, so suppose let's assume my user doesn't know anything about NetBeans. Okay, so how can that particular user, or we can generally call those user as laymen users, so whether they are able to basically access that particular application or not, yes, they can access, even though we don't know how they have implemented Facebook, but still we can use Facebook like that. Okay, now, so how can we do that? So for this particular case, so I have what you can do, you just click on this particular folder. Okay, that is your first GUI. Go to your run. So there are two ways, like in your last lecture I have told you one way of creating what your jar file, and second way you can create your jar file is you directly go to your run, and here just click on clean and build project. Once I will click on this particular thing, then what will happen? This particular entire thing, and automatically it will generate. Remember, it will generate a jar file. Now you will ask me, sir, where this jar file is located? See, this jar file is located here. You can see here. This is the path. See user, and all of you, if you are not going to means change, okay, your path, then automatically you will see, you will find out your file over there. So let me open this folder. So in this folder you can see that, see, this is my this PC document, and this is what my NetBeans. So what is the name of my project? That is first GUI. So if I will click on first GUI, then what you can see all these folders. So remember, your file, okay, your file will this jar file always be there where in your dist folder, this dist one, right? Otherwise I have seen like students generally get confused. Sir, we have created project, everything is fine, but we are not able to find out where our jar file is. Remember, just try to see these entire thing, okay, so that you will be able to find out where your jar file is located. Now after that, I will go over there and I can see if I will click on this particular thing, na, jar file over there, then you can see that I will be able to access this particular thing. Now what I am going to do, I am going to send this particular file to you and just check it out whether this file is running in your system or not, right? Like this particular thing. So let me share this file. Yeah. So all of you just try and just download this file and just test it out whether this particular file is running or not. Okay, just open, just double click this particular thing and just let me know. Okay, just take your time and just let me know after downloading this particular file. No need to open your NetBeans or something like that. Those who have opened, that's okay. But those who haven't opened it, they can directly tell me whether you are able to open this particular, the same application or not. You can directly unmute your mic and you can directly tell me whether you are able to access this particular thing or not. Yes, anyone? Yes, anyone?
Yes, sir. What to do?
So if you will open, have you downloaded?
Yes, sir. Already I was working on my project, so I have downloaded it.
Yeah, that's okay. So if you are going to click on this particular thing, right, this particular file, let me open, yeah, like this. So this is how basically, so if you will double click on this particular thing, so you will be able to see like this, right? All
Yes,
these
sir. Yes.
functionalities. So see, this is what we are going to do. So whenever you want to create some project, okay, whenever you want to perform some functionality, so what you will do, you will directly send your jar file to your family members, to your friend, so that they can directly access your application. So now they don't need any NetBeans or something like that. They just need JRE, that is your Java runtime environment. And whenever your operating system will have by default this your Java runtime environment, okay, you don't require that particular thing. So by default in your operating system you always have JRE, that is your Java runtime environment, right?
सर
Like
ये वाली फाइल DIST में मिलेगी?
which one?
ये जो फाइल होती है JRE वाली फाइल, ये हमें DIST फोल्डर में मिलेगी?
In DIST folder, yes. See, whenever, see, आप क्या करो, just download this. Whenever you will build in a run and build, so you can see ना, यहाँ पर आपका path है. It might be possible that you might have changed your path. But अगर आपने path change नहीं कर रखा है, then in that scenario, just check it out whether you will find your jar file in this particular path, right? Like this. Got it? Now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how basically the functionality of this thing. So in our upcoming lecture, what we are going to do, we are going to create an application right over there. I will create one app. I have already created some applications, so I will directly show you those applications because it is going to take a lot of time now. But still, if someone is having any doubt, they can directly ask me at any moment of time after that. Now you can see here that we have discussed about your menu item, menu bar, right? So if you want to perform, so see, we are writing code over there. So if you want to add some dialog box too, so see what you can do. If you want, you can add some sort of dialog box. So how can you add some dialog box? So over there we have a J option. Remember, I think what's yeah, we have this J option pane, and using this J option pane, what we generally do, if you whenever we will see ना कि अच्छा हमारा कोई error आता है, so automatically एक dialog box open हो जाता है. Now I want to create that kind of dialog box. So even though if you want to add any condition, जैसे if condition, else condition, वो आपकी conditions पर depend करेगी. But let's assume I just want to show you how to create that particular dialog box. So what I will do, I will directly write it down and I will check whether we are getting show message dialog, right? Like this. So here you can see all these are what there are three methods for this particular thing. Whether you want to pass this particular thing component, whether you want to pass direct object, something like that. So right now I will directly call this particular thing. Now I have created JOption.show message dialog box. And after that, what I want to basically, first of all, I will write down for which I want. I want for my first GUI, right? Like this. So whenever you are having some sort of confusion, just press Control and your space, right? So that you will get the same thing. Otherwise, sometimes you will never able to remember now all the methods. So how to find out if you know something closer to that? Okay, something we have to root J option. So what you do, you just Control and Shift. So automatically you will get, so that you will find out. Okay, we have to create J option pin something. Now after that I will write like this because I am accessing object. Remember, every time we are accessing some object, and here suppose I want to display some message. So let me show you it's working like this. I want to display like this message. Now again, if I will make Control S, and now if I am going to execute this particular application. So if I will click on this login button, then what will happen? Automatically, see, two operations I am performing. First operation, I am opening this window, and second is this particular dialog box. And what message it is displaying? It's working. So suppose if you want to show some sort of thing like in your application, so this thing I will explain you. I will give you like where we can basically, and you can also find out like whenever you are setting some password, and suppose your password is not matching, so you want to display some message. So sometimes you use dialog box. So over there you can use some dialog box. So you can use some condition if something like that, whatever the condition you want to add. So this is how basically we can create our applications, right? So every time you can see that all these things are very important, right? These things are very important. I can show you how these things are very important. Let's take this J label 1. So you already know that what this my J label 1 is. J label 1 is this Facebook. Facebook, it is basically displaying this message now. This is what my this one. Now what I want to, after clicking on this particular message, what I want to make JLabel dot set. Let me check what are the thing, text, right, like this. Now I want to test text. I want to set one text. If I will click on this particular, I want to make it as your what, Instagram, like this. I want to make it as Instagram. Now if I will click Control Save, if I will make save this particular program now if I will click on this particular login button, then what we can see. Let me check why it's not working. Yeah, you can see now it take some time over there. See, earlier we have Facebook, right? Now if I will click on this login button, see, once I will click on this OK button now, then you will find what you can see, Instagram. So you can change whatever the changes you want to make. So that is why Action Listener plays a very vital role whenever you are developing your Swing applications, right? Now, in the next class, what we are going to do, first of all, I will show you some of the things related to your MySQL Workbench, like your database management system. And then I will tell you about how to perform the connection between them. So in order to perform the connection between them, I will advise you to kindly download one file using, that is, just write it down on the Google, JConnector. Okay. Or JConnector MySQL. So automatically I will show you. Let me show you, right? JConnector, so that you will not get confused. What you have to do, JConnector MySQL. Because sometimes I have seen like students generally get confused how to download. See, Just go over there and see, here you can see download connector J, right? This is what you have to do. In our next class, we are going to perform this particular operation. So just go over there, just click here in this particular thing. I will share this particular link with you guys, right? Let me share this particular link with you. Now, after that, please don't directly click and directly select and directly download this particular thing. No, what we want jar file. So if you want a jar file now, what you do, you directly click over there and make it as platform independent, right? After you will click on platform independent. So if you are using your window based operating system, so directly download this particular file. This is a 4.6 MB file. So once you will download this particular file, then you will find out that in this file there is a jar file, okay, named as JConnector. So what you have to do for this particular case, just go into your NetBeans, right? You have to go into your NetBeans. So in which project you want to perform this particular operation of database connectivity, right? So what over there, after that, what you go, you just go to this libraries. Right now in library, how I have only JDK 16. Now I want to perform database connectivity too. So for which I required that file. So what you do, you just directly click on this library, just go on add jar file, okay, and you can select this particular folder because I have already selected this particular thing. That's why I'm getting it. Otherwise, you have to set this particular path, okay, where you have downloaded, and see, you have to click on this thing, and now you have to make it as open. Once you will click over there, now using this application, now in this particular project, you have a connector. And what is the role of your connector? It provides a connection between this NetBeans and this my MySQL server. If we don't have this connector, right, we won't be able to basically establish a connection between our this NetBeans and with our this particular MySQL. MySQL is what? It is a database management system. So this thing we are going to learn in our next lecture. So I hope that now you are in a stage to create your own application. And even if anyone is having any doubt or still facing any issue while creating or building your project, feel free to ask. But what I just want to give you as an advice is that please try to check it out, this entire code, right? So here this label are doing what? You are creating an object of this class. This JLabel1 is a reference variable. So now otherwise you might ask me this question, sir, why we have learned this entire Java programming language? Because without knowing this particular thing, we are able to create some application. No, right now we are not adding any functionality. But what if we want to add some functionality like this? So we should have an idea about these things, like what is your constructor, what is this? See, you are setting some title. You can also set title directly over here, right? See, I have added this particular thing. I have changed this particular font size like this. So all these things you can see, whatever the changes you are making over there, you will find out that all these things are there, right? Like this. So just try to see and just try to explore this entire thing. It is a very interesting way. And that is the main outcome of our entire object-oriented programming using Java, right? So in our next means our lecture, that is on Monday, we will have what? We will have one quiz, that is your quiz number 3. And then we'll have some sort of, you can call it as what we have some discussion related to your database connectivity and all. And as per your request, this time I have also increased the time limit from 15 minutes to your 18 minutes, right? Like that. So this is all about our today's lecture. So I hope that you have understood all these things related to that. And if anyone is having any issue or facing any